Welcome to the French Tech Podcast. We're still here at Hello Tomorrow. Wonderful deep tech conference exploring the ways we can leverage deep tech to build a better future. Here, recording in the beautiful Capitol Theatre of Singapore. I'm very happy to welcome our next guest, Professor C.M. Wang. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Could I ask you to quickly introduce yourself?
Well, I'm TMR, which means Transport and Main Roads Chair Professor in Structural Engineering at the School of Civil Engineering, the University of Queensland, Australia. I was formerly worked in the National University of Singapore in the Department of Civil Engineering for something like 34 years before I moved to Queensland in the year 2017.
And what area of research do you focus on today?
Well, my areas of research ranges from nanostructures to megastructures, but I'm very passionate in one particular area called very large floating structures technology for creating artificial land on the sea.
Well, as a Dutch guy, I have to say this is a topic that really resonates with me. Because as you know, we live under the sea level.
Absolutely.
And that's really an issue for us.
Yes, I know.
Now, the keynote that you gave earlier today, you talked about large floating structures and how they help us address some of the problems facing humanity today.
Yes.
Could I ask you to elaborate?
You know, there are so many problems that our as humanity we faced. Which is compounded by continual overpopulation and also climate change, and also the fact that the diseases are rampant and there are food shortages and so on. So our minds have to be a little bit more innovative, not only seeking solutions on land, but to go to the ocean using advanced science and technology, which we borrowed from the offshore oil and gas industry as well as marine vessels. We can combine this and further research and create infrastructure, floating infrastructure, floating systems that can produce food, energy, water, and also space for human beings to live on, and creating exciting kind of floating facilities that will bring jobs to millions of people. And as you know, the surface of the ocean covers 70% of the world's Earth surface.
Yeah.
That is 2 times that of land.
Exactly.
Land is only about 30%, so more than 2 times. So you can imagine of doubling the Earth.
Can you give us some example?
Okay, so for example, of creation of let's say for example the getting energy from the ocean.
Right.
Now the ocean is so filled with energy. That is mind-boggling. It's just how are we going to, get this energy? They are all clean, zero carbon emission. If we can get this energy out from the ocean, we'll solve all our energy needs. In fact, we can at the same time clean up our mess in so far as carbon emission into the atmosphere, and decreasing our temperature of the whole global atmosphere. Now, let's talk about energy. For example, wind. We can get about 190,000 terawatt hour per year just from wind. I just give you a kind of measure. In the whole of Australia, the energy needs is only about 200 terawatt hour per year.
Wow.
And we're talking about wind out there, 190,000.
Waves.
That's a lot of energy. And because the wind is stronger, and the wind turbines can be made large in the ocean, because when you are moving a wind turbine and placing on land, we are constrained by the roads and containers. So therefore, we can only assemble a very small floating wind turbine. All right, but out in the sea, there's no constraint, no roads. We use buoyancy force free of charge, move humongous floating wind turbines, gigantic, 3 times bigger than, for example, the land ones, and we can get a lot of energy. Now we can get not only from the wind, we can get from the wave, from the tidal, from the also from the solar energy, and as well as the solar energy trap in our waters, in the top surface of the water, and that is abundant of energy, a lot of energy stored between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. The water that is bounded by these 2 tropics and girdles around the Earth. That's a lot of energy, and we can use what we call ocean thermal energy conversion (OTEC) to do that. So the differential temperature between the surface water of 24 degrees Celsius, and if we go down 1 kilometer below the water surface, the temperature drops to only 4 degrees Celsius.
Oh,
So
wow.
we have 20 degrees temperature differential to tap on and extract energy using the OTEC cycle, power cycle.
So really sustainable also.
Very sustainable, clean energy. You know, when we look back, our grandchildren will tell us, why you guys are so stupid, your generation, taking out a very precious commodity from the ground, the oil, and burning it, which takes millions of years to produce, and choking ourselves in the midst of doing that. That could be a better source of energy and cleaner, and yet more sustainable.
So why we don't see it all over the surface?
Well, the reason is
What are
simply
the-
this. I think there's a conspiracy with the oil and gas industry to keep
Look
it that
into
way.
it.
But I think the young generation are not going to, go along with this conspiracy. They will continue to change and will impose their their opinions, strong opinions like Greta and all that. Will continue to push for much more cleaner energy sources. I believe that in time to come, it will be the hydrogen world that will come in the year beyond 2050, where there's abundant amount of hydrogen in water, seawater. We can split it, seawater into oxygen and hydrogen, use the hydrogen for power, oxygen maybe for fish farming, where we inject
yes.
into the fish pen. So there's a lot of things that we can do. It's just that, there is, if we get our act together, we could do it together. It's not difficult. We have the technology.
We have the technology. We just need to get our act together.
That's right.
That's both a wonderfully inspiring and also sort of pessimistic way of putting things. And just so there are many interesting applications. I could talk to you for hours about
Yes.
land reclaiming, for
Yes.
example, especially me as a
Yeah.
Dutch person. But I'd like to bring it back here to Singapore. Now, here in
Yeah.
Singapore, there's a very well-known, very special, large floating structure that you were personally involved in, right?
Yes. That's the floating performance stage at the Marina Bay. It is made of steel. It's 120 meters by 83 meters in width and only 1.2 meter in depth. It's very, very thin and large, so that it's like almost like a flat plate floating on water.
And it holds giant numbers of people, right?
Yes.
During events.
Yes, it can hold. It's designed to hold even about 10,000 people if necessary. Yeah, we can hold it because not only can it hold people, we can have, the 5-ton military vehicle on it as well. Yeah.
And what's interesting that I think very few people realize that this is a floating structure. Most people, I think, assume that it's somehow attached to the bay floor.
Yes, a lot of people think that water is soft. That if you walk on water, it's not going to be able to support anything. But I tell you, water is a remarkable liquid. It's not only sustain us, we are 70% of water in us, but it can lift up huge, gigantic troll, like for example the Norwegian troll that forms the concrete oil platforms in North Sea. That's so many tons. And water is the only means to move heavy things from one point to another using the least energy. That's why the container ships and so on are the main, I would say, transportation mode for large amount of goods and vehicles and so on. That's why most cities are founded on the coastal lines to take advantage of this ability to get access to these container ships and all that. So once you move it on land, you have to contend against gravity and against tremendous amount of friction. So that impedes your movement. A lot more energy is required. So if you can remove friction, obviously you can save a lot of money, but then it's not easy to remove because Leonardo da Vinci says that friction force is proportional to the normal force. That means the weight. The higher your weight, the greater the friction force. So it's very difficult to overcome friction force. So when you're in water, the friction force is decreased, and also the buoyancy force helps you in lowering your weight. So it's very, very efficient.
And I think these are really the kinds of solutions that we need to explore moving forward.
Exactly.
Again, when we're going to face a moment in time where we're going to have to face the ocean, right?
Yes.
With global warming,
Yes.
there are many more areas on the earth these days that are going to have to ask these questions in a
Yes.
in a future that's not
Yes.
that far away.
Yes.
And I hope that your solutions and other scientists, bright minds looking into technology around large floating structures will pave the way forward for sustainable solutions in that area.
Obviously, a lot of people have the same mindset now, and they are looking into the ocean for not only space but also for food, energy, water,
Yep.
and also exciting area to be surrounded by water.
And perhaps even for our future home.
Of course,
Definitely.
we will definitely stay in the ocean. as as one would imagine staying on land, it makes no difference. When you make the structure so large, you almost feel like you're on land. You can't even feel the 6 degrees of motion that a small little vessel experiences. It's so large that it's stationary. Yeah, I've been on the mega float of the Japanese mega float, the 1 kilometer long
Wow.
model test runway. When I stand on it, I don't feel a single no movement at all. I just felt that it was a hard ground. I jump up and down. I don't feel any movement. You know, as Professor Watanabe used to always tell me, it's just like a fly on the back of an elephant.
Well, there you go. Exactly. All motion is relative.
So it will be the future.
It will be
Yes,
the
it
future.
is. It is.
Well, thank you very much
Oh,
for
my
taking the time
pleasure.
to talk to us here today, Professor. I hope the conference is going well for you.
Yes, very nice. I enjoy
it's-
myself. Thanks a lot, Nikolai.
Thanks a
and
lot.
thanks, Emil. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.